Hello and welcome, you crazy people. My name is Jay, and effectively, Asmodee, through a company called Lion Rampant, have leaked an LAAT/LE patrol transport, which, by the name of it, I didn't recognize. Maybe you're a Star Wars like legend and you know everything about it, but I didn't. But I will show you. So, Lion Rampant, owned by Asmodee, it's basically their import and distribution website. And yeah, you can see here LAAT LE transport, which is basically this. Which so it's called Patrol Gunship. I'm not sure if there's any difference between, say, the patrol and the transport. Maybe there's just like actual physical differences, but probably not very much. And yeah, it's basically like a helicopter, so it's not going to be like a fly plane. It's going to be like a well, it's not actually going to make that sound because it doesn't have rotary blades, at least as far as I can see. But it's more of a hovery kind of vehicle. This is maybe probably like a classic image that you might have seen. I think this is from Rebels. So yeah, that's what it is. And then a couple of questions. What faction is this for? And is it possibly dual faction? They're my two questions. But you may also recognise the Light Rampant from the speeder truck that was announced. Now, it does say here, same date, apart from 2020. However, I think we can all agree that's probably just a mistake, and it probably is the 2021. It feels like they have added this embargoed. It's a bit late after it's already been leaked and announced, so it is what it is. And yeah, so my question is, now that we know what it is, it's probably a hover vehicle, may like avoid cover, probably quite nimble, probably move in like any direction, maybe decent. Apparently it's got a pilot and a gunner, which could have some interesting crew options, perhaps. All in all, very interesting. What faction? So initially, because it was in Rebels, it feels more like a Republic ship, a clone ship. And that, it was in there. But then it was also in the Galactic Empire, but I don't think it's in the films or anything like that. So, well, I know it's not, but, it's not in the original films. But it doesn't mention here that it was used by the Imperial military as like a patrol craft. It's also in Jedi Fallen Order. It's used there. So I was like, oh, maybe it could be dual faction. But I think it may actually be Imperial, right? And I'm going to show you why. So, in sequential order numbers, so these are product codes from FFG, but obviously it's going to be changing to AMG. 778 is Lando, right? And then the speeder truck is 77. Not I said 77, but just 79, 78. So 78 is Lando. 79 is a speeder truck. 80 is Callus, the Imperial Callus. 81 is the LAAT LE patrol transport. It's Imperial, right? That's sort of what it would make sense. That's the way that it goes with Lando and Callus, and then these two vehicles. But yeah, I don't know. I really expected it to be clones, if that makes sense. So then I was like, could it actually be both? It could be both. We could see it in both factions, I guess. There's no real way of knowing until we get it announced. But there's nothing. Would that be a little bit too good? A bit of a bias towards the Republic factions, or are we going to see something more along the lines of the AT-RT, where they announced, we got it for one faction, and then we got it for another one down the line? That'd be interesting, that the Republic basically having the best of both worlds. They could have the AT-RT and they could have like the gunships and stuff like that. There's probably other options that the clones could have. So whether or not they will just leave this with Imperials, I was a little bit worried about faction identity, especially when we had clones and we had stormtroopers. Yes, they do look different, but it's white armored soldiers, so not like incredibly different. However, I think visually, FFG did a great job, separating them from each other. So I think they actually do look separate. Yes, there's R2D2, where you can he actually has a card that you get both of both factions. And there's the AT-RT, which you sort of actually need the other AT-RT, as far as I know. I don't know if they could buy a card pack with that, and I don't think so. So, yeah, I was a little bit worried about faction identity. You don't necessarily want one thing that can just be used in all the factions. It doesn't necessarily make sense. But this would this one would make sense. This patrol ship, gunship kind of thing would make sense, which wouldn't have its noise. This hover gunship would be pretty cool. So, yeah, I am interested in what they will do with this, and I don't really know the answer. But it could be cross-faction. At the minute, it looks like Imperials. Unless I am missing something completely obvious to you guys, do let me know in the comments if I am. Yeah, I think it looks like the Imperials. And I've got to admit, as an Imperial player myself, I would love to have this. Like, I'm not that interested in the ATR, the ATST, and I'm not that interested in the tank power because I built mine incorrectly because I didn't put anybody in the turret because I was like, I can't be arsed painting it. But I would love to have that. I just feel like that would be a cool unit. Little Nimbile flying thing. How they will do the flying? Do they do a massive stand? Who knows? All in all, very interesting, and I am excited to see the card. April is 3-4 months away. That's basically what we normally get. I would prefer that these things stop getting leaked. Stop the leaks, but that's not happening. Have the most beautiful day. Like and subscribe.